Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome, and thank you for joining us here today on School Matters. My name's David Mustonen, and I'm Director of Communications for the Dearborn Public Schools. I have two guests joining me today, incredible people here in our district. Mr. Jeff Murphy, who is our Director of Food Services, and Ms. Courtney Burrows, who is the Senior General Manager with SFE, who is our food service partner here in the district. I wanted to thank both of you for taking a little bit of time to join us today. We're going to chat a little bit about all the fun stuff you guys have going on. I know that SFE joined the Dearborn team just prior to COVID and had a lot of great things going and a lot of momentum had started. COVID hit, and although you were, our food service department was really involved in still handing out meals during COVID, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well. I think that a lot of the projects that were planned and a lot of the initiatives that were planned kind of got stalled a little, and you lost that momentum. And so I think now that we're kind of back, we can see that picking back up again, and we want to talk about those things that you guys are planning for not only this year but in the future. But just to get started, I'm going to start with Courtney because you are our newest member here. And just a little background, Courtney, about your time at SFE, your background in joining us here in Dearborn.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm
Yeah.
excited to be here. A little bit about myself. I've been with SFE for 4 years now. Previously, I come from Reese Puffer School District over on the west side of the state. So I was there food service director for the last 3 years. I am a registered dietitian and I have an MBA in marketing. So I really enjoy the creative side of this program as well. So rolling out fun programs for the kids and making it more than just the food that we're serving to the kids.
And I think that is so important too, that it is more than just, when I went to school, that was like 150 years ago, that you'd walk through the cafeteria line, they'd slop some food on a tray and say, "Here you go, kid, move along." And it's really not about that. It's a lot
Right.
more than that. So that marketing background, that's great to hear. That's awesome. And as a registered food dietitian, that is an incredible science in itself, and so important these days as nutrition is such an important focus about meals that are being served.
Mm-hmm.
So great. Welcome, Courtney.
Thanks.
Jeff, you've been with the district for a couple of years.
Couple of years. I've been a district employee for 22 years. This is my 22nd year. And really excited to have Courtney aboard with her background. And we were already feeling some of the effects of her ideas, and it's exciting, definitely.
So like I said, our food service department, and probably just to clarify things right off the bat here, in Dearborn, we still employ all of our own food service staff. Jeff, you oversee all of our kitchen managers and food service people and all of those kinds of things. SFE is here to bring in some of that management help and bring about some of those parts. So it's a great partnership between the two organizations.
Absolutely.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about what took place during the pandemic. I know that it was an incredible effort. The people who just stepped up during that time. We talk about essential workers. We had some essential workers that were on that front line just giving their all. Talk a little bit about the food service department's involvement during the pandemic.
Well, absolutely. And, we have right around 150 employees. And basically, like you said, when everyone was deciding to stay home, our staff came in and we served over 3.5 million meals over that pandemic period. And these people came in and, had a smile on their face, just serviced the community. And it was really a great feeling. There was curbside pickup, and basically parents were able to come to 7 of our schools, pick up a week's worth of groceries, and it was a great deal.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll big applause there for our food service staff for all that they did during that time. An incredible effort, really.
Yeah.
Really.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Um, so, Jeff, we talked a little bit about this, but maybe you can go into a little bit more detail as far as the role that you have in the district in overseeing all of the staff. And you mentioned there are 150 food service people. What are some of those jobs that our food service staff are involved in? And are we looking for more people to be involved in that?
Well, we're always looking for more people. But we have everything from our managers at each kitchen, and usually at the middle school and high school we have cook, a position that is called cook, and then there's food service assistants. So based on the size of the kitchen or size of the building, we have anywhere between 18 employees at one particular kitchen down to 2 people. But absolutely always looking for somebody who loves working with kids, loves working with food. Always the door's open. And I mean, all you need to do is apply at our district website, and we'll reach out to you.
Great. And these jobs, part-time, full-time?
Great question. Usually they would start out part-time, meaning around 4 hours a day. It works best for a lot of moms, although we do have some dads out there that they're off when the kids are off. The schedules work out very very well with that. But there is full time, but usually you need to be working in our department for a while before that happens.
Okay. And breakfast, lunch, both? At all schools, some of the schools?
Well, if it has something to do with food, we handle it.
Okay.
So we serve breakfast, we serve lunch. In multiple schools, we serve snacks. And really, with SFE coming aboard, we have a couple of chefs, and we've done a lot of catering. I know we've done some here at the administration building. In the past, prior to the pandemic, we actually had gone to some of the school buildings where principals have reached out to do something for their staff. So we've done some things there as well. So yeah, if it's food related, we're handling it.
Great. Awesome. We like to hear that. Hopefully, if anyone's listening to our podcast during lunchtime, kind of spur their appetite and get them going.
Absolutely.
Courtney, talking about SFE and their role here in Dearborn, but maybe a little background about who FSC is, and is this a company that's been around for a while? Are they involved in schools? Tell us.
Sure. So SFE stands for Southwest Food Service Excellence. We are based out of Scottsdale, Arizona, and we have about 250 districts across the country that we partner with. So we started in the southwestern side of the state, so kind of Arizona, Texas is where the majority of our accounts are. But we've made our way across. We're in Michigan. We just moved into Ohio, and I think we picked up an account in Virginia. So we're almost entirely across the country, which is great. So we were started in 2005.
Okay.
So a fairly new company, and our big focus is on scratch prep food. So we try to make the majority of our recipes are scratch made. Homemade sauces, using seasonings and spices to flavor the food, since we do have pretty strict nutrition guidelines that we work within. And really just making the best food possible for the kids. That's really what we're all passionate about, what the ladies and the men in the kitchens are passionate about. And what we pride ourselves on as a company is the partnerships that we bring to the school districts, and working in tandem to bring the best program possible to the students.
So let's touch a little bit upon, there's a couple things you mentioned there that kind of go hand in hand. And one is that some of the guidelines that we have to follow as a school district, federal guidelines as far as nutrition goes, and it kind of sometimes can limit the recipes and the food that can be served. But you also mentioned something as well, the cooking from scratch and the creating the items that are kind of unique to the different school districts. So how do you guys tie that in, and how does that work to kind of bring about the menus and develop the menus?
So we
Either one of you, jump in.
we do have two chefs on team here. So we have Chef
Okay.
Mo and Chef Danny, and they are kind of our culinary experts when it comes to the menu. So they're constantly revamping current recipes, doing research and development with new recipes. We have an event at the end of the month that we're going to be rolling out at all 3 high schools called Flavor Fest. So
Nice.
students will have an opportunity to sample 5 or 6 new recipes that the team has been working on, and then based on their feedback, we can get them on the menus for Q2. So we really survey the students, listen to the students. We're here for them. This is their program, so we really want it to be foods that they are excited about and that they want to come to school and eat. So we make hummus from scratch. We have za'atar. We are rolling out a new breakfast item. I always mispronounce it. Lebne.
Okay.
So kind of listening to the feedback that we receive and then taking that feedback and running with it and making it work in a way that is compliant. That is the most important thing with regards to the program because we are federally funded. So there's a lot of compliance that we need to make sure that we're addressing and following. But once all of those boxes are checked for compliance, the sky is wide for where we can go from there. So we really try to be creative and give the kids what they want.
Yeah, we get a lot of feedback from the community regarding home recipes and those types of things, which I'm sure taste wonderful, but people really don't realize I don't want to call them restrictions, but the guidelines that we have to follow regarding sodium and calories and those types of things. And that's, having a couple of chefs on board, using spices, using herbs, you can really get a lot of flavor without worrying about the sodium piece or the calorie piece. And I think we've done a really good job with that.
That sounds great. And I know you mentioned, the food fest coming up and things like that, and kind of creating some of those menu items that are unique and to our local community here. I'm sure that happens in other school districts across the country that you're involved in as well. What are some other projects, other things? I know you've got the roaming chef program that you bring over to the schools and the kids get involved, which is a lot of fun. I've seen a lot of cool pictures of the kids involved in that. But so that's just one of those kinds of things. But what are there other projects and other things that you guys are doing that kind of to engage the students and kind of get them more aware about not just about the menu, but actually about good nutrition and healthy eating?
Yes, so we actually have 3 registered dietitians on staff. Our nutrition coordinator is a registered dietitian, so she's the one that creates all of the menus for us. And she also holds nutrition education in a lot of the classrooms. So we did some of that over the summer. She comes into the class. It's a short lesson, usually with the younger kiddos. Very basic, just kind of talking about the food groups and explaining how food works in our body and how it makes us feel and why it's important to eat a variety of colors and different fruits and vegetables, and that's a lot of fun. We also have, as part of the roving chef, as you mentioned, that's more culinary focused with preparing food items and kind of acting like a chef. But there's also a nutrition education component of that where we kind of discuss what we're making, what ingredients we're using, what those ingredients are, and how they interact with our body and the nutrition that we get from those also. So we always try to make it work in tandem and kind of sneak it in a fun way so that the kids don't lose interest. But that's a very important part of it.
Absolutely. Got to keep them engaged,
Yeah.
right?
And some of the not so exciting, but things that we're working on, we are trying to upgrade our kitchens. Our kitchens are just as old as the buildings that they're in. So, there's, and again, not so exciting, but like the hoods that work above the kitchen equipment are being upgraded next summer. We have some walk-in coolers, walk-in freezers that are going to be installed in, I believe, 7 of our schools, just because basically of the supply chain issues that, and I won't go on and on about those things, but just another challenge that we go through so that we're able to give the kids what they need.
That's a great point to bring up, and it's obviously not as sexy to talk about, but very
That's
much
why
important.
I handle that, David.
That's right. Well, Jeff, I'll just leave that one right there. But it is important. Those logistics behind the scenes are important. And as you pointed out, the freezers, bringing in the bigger walk-in freezers to the school so that the supplies can be there, help address some of these supply chain issues. That's kind of forward thinking and planning for the future and not being reactive, but being proactive.
Absolutely.
on
And,
those
an
fronts.
important part of that is the food service department. We have our own fund, so we're not taking money from the general fund for these projects. This is all food service department funds to make our improvements.
That's great. That's great. So helping our schools, making a more efficient process, bringing in a lot of food choices for students. A lot of this, and this all started 6, 7 years ago when some students were part of Dr. Maleko's Superintendent Advisory Council, and that was one of the things that they brought forward. They'd like to see more variety in the choices and things like that. And that kind of was how that whole conversation started, and here we are today. So it's good to see that we've come this far, and it sounds like a lot more in the future coming up, right?
Yeah, today's actually our first Lucky Tray Day of the year, so we're celebrating that
Lucky
district
Tray
wide.
Day. All right,
Yes,
explain that. How
it
does that
is.
work? What's a lucky tray?
So at every building across the district today during lunch, the food service staff will mark a couple trays with a star or a sticker, something to identify it as the winning lucky tray.
Okay.
And as a student comes through the line, if they receive the lucky tray, then they will win a prize. So prizes are grade and kind of age specific. So for our high schoolers, we have Bluetooth speakers. For our middle schoolers, we have earbuds. And for our elementary kiddos, I got some board games and some goodie bags and stickers and erasers and pencils and things like that. So we're looking forward to that. We hope the kids are as excited about it as we have been.
It sounds fun. And matter of fact, I know we're doing this podcast in the morning. I'll probably have time to head over to the schools. Maybe I'll jump in line and say, am I eligible or no? No, staff not
That
eligible.
would be a no.
No.
A hard no, David.
Bluetooth speaker. I could always use a Bluetooth speaker. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. Out on the golf course, whatever. That's
We
always
set
comes
the
in
bar
handy.
high.
Yeah. Okay. So, are there any other items that you think it would be important for our community to know about our food service department and all the work that you guys are doing?
Well, we do want as much interaction with the community, with the students, with the administration. Feedback, whether it be negative or positive, is always welcome. That's the way we improve. So if someone has ideas, if someone has a concern, always please reach out to our department, and hopefully you get the answer that you're looking for.
Good. Awesome. I don't know if people, really, with 20,000 students in our district, and we are a free and reduced lunch district, so all of our students qualify, no matter what their income, all of our students get free lunch, and giving lunch and breakfast. I don't know if our community totally grasps how huge of a task all of you have over in that food service department, and to do it every single day, 5 days a week, to have those meals there ready for the students, is a huge task. So much appreciated to you guys, all of your staff, all the people on the front lines who are working so hard to make sure that those meals are there every single day. So we do appreciate that very, very much. It is a huge part of this district, just as we have transportation and custodial services, and of course the teaching part of it is the obvious part. But it is all these other components behind the scenes that kind of make up the whole that we sometimes forget about. So thank you both.
We'll pass that along, David. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. We'll do the applause one more time.
Awesome.
And remember, and of course, I've got these toys here, so I have to play with them. Of course, this is all the work that we do is because it's all about not beeping, but about
Students first.
So of course that drives all of us in the work that we do. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So Courtney, Jeff, thank you so much for taking a few minutes here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have you back later on in the year too, so you can update us on some of these fun projects that you have planned.
You'll know where to find us.
Yeah. In the cafeteria or just down the hall? Either one.
Absolutely.
Okay, good, great. I want to thank everybody for taking a few minutes to stop in and listen today and hear about all the great things going on in the Dearborn Public Schools. Today we talked food service. We have lots of topics planned throughout this year: special education, transportation, just to name a few. And of course, there's always those topics that come up throughout the school year that we may also need to bring here and discuss and enlighten our community about. So thank you all for joining us on another edition of School.